Good morning, everybody. Oh, good afternoon, nearly. How are we all?
Good, thank you. It's a happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Good, thanks.
Hello, Kerry. Nice to see you. I think we'll just give it a few more seconds. I'm expecting quite a few people here today, so I'll just give it a few seconds before people can join, and then I can begin. Where are you calling from, Rebecca? June?
Hiya.
Hello.
I'm Rebecca. I'm from Your Own Place. I run a social enterprise. We work with the business community, the public sector, as well as people to prevent homelessness.
Amazing. Is that nationwide or London or?
No, we're Norfolk. We work in Norfolk and Suffolk.
Oh, okay. So do you know Kathy Ennis then, who's joining us on the call? Is that how you found her?
I don't know.
Ah, she's in Norfolk, and normally on these calls we have either the Essex camp or the Norfolk camp. The Norfolk camp are her friends, and the Essex people are my friends.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
Hiya, Claire. Hiya, Daniel. Hiya, Emma. I think we'll begin. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody, for being here today. We do these every week, so every Monday we have a lunchtime learning session, and today's one is on the wonders that is Facebook advertising. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Emma Good, social media agency 24 Fingers. We're based in Brentwood in Essex, and we help people that are all fingers and thumbs do more with their social media. Lots of people tell us that they know that they've got to be on social media, but they need help with a strategy or working out how they post, what time of day they post, how often, etc., etc. So that's what we do. We cover social media, blogging, websites, paid advertising, SEO, and today we're going to be looking at Facebook. I'm normally joined on the call by Kathy Ennis, my business partner. Kathy's having full-scale renovations, so I think the builders must have turned her internet off, so I can cover Kathy's bits. Kathy is a business mentor, so she helps all of us take what we're passionate about and turn that into profit, and typically she works with micro businesses and side hustles, so people that are doing a full-time job but looking at how they develop other elements of their business to actually earn money, which is great. I'm just going to let everybody in. Okay, just wait for Kathy to come in and she can introduce you. Come on. Waiting for a few people. No, she can't come in. That's all right. I'm gonna do her bit for her instead. So, Facebook advertising, biggest social media platform in the UK. We can target 40 million people just by using Facebook's data. Now, depending on what side of the fence you sit on, that's either fantastic or it's scary. What is true is that there's nothing that they don't know about us. They can help us target people that live by us, that have been to our website before, that follow us on Instagram but don't follow us on Facebook, people that are shopping Marxes, that have been to a certain school, that have got children aged 21, that have friends who are having a wedding anniversary next week. You know, there is no limit to what they don't know about us. That is great from a small business point of view. It means that we can target people really, really effectively. But with all things Facebook, you need to be clear on what you're doing and why. So we're a great believer in not doing social media for the sake of it. I would say my biggest top tip here is that be clear on who you're targeting and why. Facebook can be quite a expensive beast. It can be something where your money can go quite quickly. So it's really important to know who you want to target and why, and also what you're going to show them. So I'm looking at Matthew, for example. Matthew's on the call here. Matthew has a website, an IT support company. So Matthew can target small business owners living within a certain radius to his office, because he knows That way he can really serve those customers well. Typically for me, I tend to work with small business owners within Essex. I've got kind of coaching and therapy businesses. That's one of my target markets. I can do that on Facebook really, really clearly. We need to look at how we can put what we can sell in front of Facebook, so the products and services we've got to offer. I tend to use Facebook advertising if I've got a particular ebook or lead magnet. So I do lots of guides to social media. So I've got one running at the moment, which is 24 tips on social. I put that in front of my audience on Facebook very cheaply. And typically I can get in front of people for a penny. So if, for example, I did a video, me talking about some tips on social media, it's so cost effective, and I'm very happy to spend a penny to get in front of somebody. As the objectives change, you can spend more than that, obviously, but for one penny, starting at £3 a day, it's hugely cost effective when you combine that with radio or TV or press advertising. There's nothing quite like it from a cost per acquisition point of view. And because Facebook owned Instagram and WhatsApp, you can combine those platforms as well. So I can get in front of the same person on Facebook, and if they don't download my guide on Facebook, the next time they go on Instagram, I can show that same ad to them. So it's hugely, hugely effective. Okay. Be aware that video is key now on Facebook. So by the end of the year, I think 80% of all social media content will be video based. So if you haven't got a video strategy, especially on advertising, start thinking about the type of videos you could create, whether that's you doing a box pop, you getting in front of camera, or something like an explainer video if you need more kind of text or infographic based video. But one thing's for sure, video isn't going away soon, and if you can do it, I'd really encourage it. Cost per acquisition is going to be a lot cheaper if you do video compared to text based ads. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about from Facebook budget point of view is that, like Google, it's a hungry beast. You can start from as little as £3 a day, but your budget will go quickly. So you really need to understand how much you're willing to spend and what you'll get for that. The best way that I can recommend you do that is by looking how much it costs you to get a client into your business right now. So typically, if you spend money on networking or being part of business networking groups or associations, do an exercise in terms of how much your membership fees cost you and how many clients you get from that membership. That way you can work out your cost per acquisition from a client, and that way you can set your budget on Facebook. You can work out how many cost per thousand you need to spend in order to get to a number that's going to actually equate to clients. What we typically say is if 1 to 3% of your Facebook audience see your ad, 1 to 3% of that volume will actually click through to your website and become a client. So not everybody who sees your Facebook ads is going to come to your website, and again, not everybody that's comes to your website is going to become your client. So you need to do those calculations and really understand, if I spend £100 and I get 100 clicks, out of those 100 clicks, how many will leave a contact details on my form, for example. Okay. Next thing I wanted to talk about is how to measure your results. Facebook give you great insights, which is all very well, but like all data, it's only good if you actually do something with the insights. So do make sure that if you've got your Facebook ad account up and running, make sure that you go into the ad platform and understand what's worked and what hasn't. You can start to look at how many people saw your ads, and that is impressions and reach, how many unique people saw your ads. So one of the things that I get really frustrated about, and I'm sure you do the same, is when I go into a shop like Marks and Spencer's, I can look on the website, I can go browse. The next time I go on Facebook, I'll be shown an ad for the same product that I looked at in Marks's, and that ad will typically follow me around forever. It's all fine until I've seen the ad 10, 20 times. That's when it gets really, really boring for me. So do make sure, if you've got an ad that's running and it's being seen by people, make sure that you've capped your frequency so that people aren't seeing that same ad 10, 20 times, because you will get on somebody's nerves, and that's the last thing that we want to do. In terms of looking at who's engaging with your ad, you can split that down by demographic, by age group, by device and platform, just to give you 4 little topics there. It's really relevant to do that, to make sure that the ad is being seen by your target audience. For me, I can work with male, female, any age group. But I know who that I do my best work with. So typically we're working with people aged 35 upwards, people that are business owners that have got managing directors in their title. So I've got a really clear guideline in terms of the people that I want to get in front of. And that way I include that in the targeting, and when I look at my results, I'll be absolutely clear on how many females, how many men have seen my ads, what are age group, whether they're looking at Android devices, whether they're looking on iPads or iPhones. Typically my stuff tends to be consumed on iPhone, so I need to make sure that my visuals work on a mobile, that my headlines, my text aren't cropped off on a mobile. I'm always thinking mobile first, and that's really, really key nowadays on social media. Do test how it looks on a mobile rather than just on desktop. And for any of you that have seen Facebook ads where you get link descriptions at the bottom, make sure that nothing's being cut off when you're looking at the smaller devices, because as you know, everybody's looking at one of these rather than one of the big ones. Once you can see what's working and what didn't work, you can either refine your current campaign, or you can look to see what changes you'd make for future campaigns. So you can then target and filter down your audience. They actually, my ads were seen by 50-year-olds, but actually it was 30-year-olds that clicked through. Therefore, you know when you do your next campaign not to show it to the people that won't click through. So the data is there. There's a wealth of data on Facebook, but the key is to actually make sure that you actually implement what it's showing you rather than spend money, because like I say, they will spend your money very, very quickly, Facebook. One of the other things that you can do once you run one campaign is start retargeting people that perhaps saw your ad in the first instance but didn't take any action, and that's called retargeting, or you might have heard that called remarketing. Facebook very helpfully lets you set up audiences of people that perhaps have been to your website before, maybe have been to certain pages. So for my website, for example, I can show people ads that have been to my training pages, but perhaps haven't been on one of the training workshops before. So I can retarget them and show them an ad that's got training in the headline and training in the image. And you should find that that's the most cost-effective way of getting people in front of you, because they already know you. They've perhaps seen one of your ads before. They've already seen you on Facebook. It's a much cheaper cost per acquisition rather than targeting a kind of cold audience, as it were. So I'm just going to check if Kathy's on the line. Kathy did make it. Kathy, I hope you heard some of that, if not all of that. Would you like to add in on any of the bits that you did or didn't hear?
Thanks very much, Emma, and I must apologise for being late, folks. Fortunately, since lockdown ended, the builders have come back, and today we're having all the electrics done, so it's been a little bit hit and miss through this morning. And I did hear what you were saying, and I bow to your knowledge about Facebook ads, because you do so many of them. I mean, for me, it's always clarity in the first instance of who it is you want to look at your stuff in, and what the stuff is. So I've found in the past that where people haven't been getting so much success is they haven't been targeted enough in terms of the audience that they want to reach with the specific thing that they want them to do. So obviously you can use ads for more generalist things such as brand building and lead generation, but if even in those circumstances, if you want people to take action, you need to be very specific about your audience.
Thanks, Kathy. Kathy has a book, was it Big LittlePiggy Guide to Social Media? So we ran a campaign, for example, in November, which was...
It's the big social media marketing organiser, folks, and it's available on Amazon.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kathy. So we ran a campaign on Facebook in November because we knew that in January people would be panicking that their social media wasn't planned out, and this book is full of practical tips about how to plan your social media out. And Kathy had a direct correlation between the amount of people that saw that Facebook ad to the amount of people that bought it. So we were able to say, you know, if the ROI on that particular ad was, you know, £1 click to £5 book, then obviously all day long you'd put more £1 in to get £5 back. And that's the kind of formula. It's not particularly complex in that. You need to look at what it's costing you per view, what it's costing you per click, and then what happens when somebody gets onto your website, what can they get out of the back of that. None of us have got time and effort to be throwing money at this willy-nilly. We've all got busy day jobs. So I would say if you're thinking about a Facebook campaign, really understand your numbers, understand your who, understand your ideal client, and then test it. You can test, like I say, for £3. So have a go. After a week, don't change anything for at least 48 hours, but after a week, see what's happened. You've spent the maximum of, you know, of £21. See what worked, see how many clicks you got, and see what happened when you actually did get to your website. All of this we're going to be covering on Friday's session. We're going to be looking at how to actually set up an ad campaign. There's 7 different objectives on Facebook in terms of the different campaigns you can run. So Kathy and I on Friday's workshop will be looking at what the best one is for you, and what each objective means, and how you can measure each one, and what is good for some campaigns and what won't work for other campaigns. So that's Friday, 10 o'clock. We go on till 12. For those of you that have been to our workshops, you'll know that they're really practical. Loads of time to ask specific questions on your business, and very much step-by-step guide. We were with a group of business owners this morning that really appreciated being shown actually kind of granular steps, and that's exactly how we do Facebook advertising too. So I'm going to stop sharing very shortly to take in your questions. We've got a few minutes to do that. I'm very conscious that there's a lot to cover in a small session, so please do feel free to connect with Kathy and I after. We're both available for questions that you want to ask that are tailored to your business. Perhaps you've tried Facebook ads before. It'd be really interesting to know in chat if any of you have pressed the blue boost button actually and seen how that works for you. I know some people have tried that. Facebook make it really easy to press the blue boost button, but sometimes your results aren't quite what you wanted from that. Interesting to look at who's done that in the past and who's spent money boosting ads. Here's our contact details. I will follow up this afternoon with our slides anyway. So I'm going to stop sharing and take in any questions, either via chat or by voice. The choice is entirely yours.
Can I just throw something in there as well, Emma, before we get into there? And I think that this is really relevant when you start getting into the whole advertising side of things, and when we were talking about the financial commitment that you might have, etc., is that I think one of the things you need to differentiate between is what I describe as broadcast marketing, which is the general daily, this is who I am, this is what I do. It's the brand building side of things. So it's the thing that you might commit to on a regular basis, such as one blog a week, one Facebook post a week, those kinds of things where you're sending your messages out to your target audience specifically, you know, that general target audience. When we start getting into campaigning, and particularly when we start getting into advertising, this is where we then start to break our target audience down into much smaller pieces, because we're targeting a very specific group within our target audience for a very particular reason. So that's the difference between broadcast, which is your general day-to-day stuff that you do, and then, as I describe it, campaigning, where we're actually creating peaks within that to get people to do something specific. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I wrote that book, is to try and get people to recognize the difference between the two things, so that you can start thinking along those two lines when you then overlay that on top of particular promotional activity to get people to buy something specific or do something in particular.
Thanks, Kathy. So Ian had a question. What's the difference between Facebook ads and Facebook Marketplace? So Facebook Marketplace is for people like you and I to sell stuff. not necessarily a business, whereas Facebook ads, you use their targeting platform to say, I want to get my ads in front of business owners that are in Essex. Whereas with Marketplace, you put a product or something that you want to sell up there, normally kind of household items, and anybody can see it. Whereas Facebook ads is targeted and you get insights and you put a budget, whereas Facebook Marketplace, it's their equivalent of eBay. Any other questions? Anybody tried boosting? Anybody seen that it's worked? Anybody spent a fortune on Facebook advertising? What's been your experience?
I've not tried it yet. I've created a page, but I've not tried it yet. For me, it's just the time, the thought of even just doing a weekly post, because I don't do Facebook. So it's just kind of been something that I've kind of put on the sideline, but I know I need to do it. I know I need to do it. The other thing is because I don't have a personal Facebook profile, that's always prevented me doing my business one as well, because I know you have to have a personal one linked to the business one. Is that correct?
Yeah, personal profile has to own the business account, but that doesn't mean to say that you have to post on the personal one. So as long as you're set up, you can leave your personal one completely dormant. So you don't need to be an avid Facebook user to have a Facebook business page.
So I would prefer not to have a personal Facebook profile at all. So could I actually just make a personal profile that's got nothing to do with me, if you see what I mean?
I'd suggest that you use Facebook Business Manager, because this is a way of actually setting things up outside of a personal profile. Okay. So you can use it. Personally, I found Facebook Business Manager a bit clunky. However, it was created to allow people. It was created to allow businesses that didn't want a business page connected to a personal profile to create a business page for their products and services. So you can use that. The only downside with that and about not having a personal profile is that you get that personal interaction between the page and your profile. And particularly if you're in a personal brand type business, or you are the business, it makes it doubly effective if you're using your page, but that you're using your profile as part of allowing other people know who you are and what you do.
I think we're talking tonight anyway, aren't we, Claire? So I can help you with that.
Okay.
Any other questions from anybody thinking about using Facebook ads or want to refine what they're doing already?
So Janice has put up again something similar about having it not being particularly user friendly. It does take, I will say, Janice, it does take a little bit of getting used to. It's not, I don't think it's the most naturally intuitive platform that there is, and it doesn't help that Facebook like to make changes without telling anyone, and then you just discover it when you go to do something that you've always done and it's not there anymore. So yeah, I can empathise with that.
Normally it's them, not us.
Yes, in all circumstances, if something goes wrong, I'm sorry this is being recorded, but please, Facebook gods, don't get this. But usually if something goes wrong, it's them and not you.
Is there anybody else that we can help specifically on their business?
Oh yeah, Emma Harvey's come up with a really, really important thing here, is that if you have a business page, please, with every hand on every heart that I've got, please ensure that as the business owner, you have absolute control and ownership over that page. Please do not give it to your nephew because they know about tech, or an intern or an apprentice or somebody else, because this is an asset in your business. And what Emma's put here in terms of the person's left, and you know, it's I hear this story probably 10 times a day from people, I can't access my Facebook page because the interns set it up and now they're not with us anymore. So please remember that this is a very important thing within your business. What you'll need to do is you'll need to contact Facebook support and lodge that as a claim on that page.
And I've got a question. I was told that I've got a page. Obviously, I've got 2 pages for my 2 separate businesses. But I was told with my page I should have a group, so I've got a group as well. But I tend to post to the page so I can keep an eye on the analytics, but then share it to the group. But I don't know whether I'm better off sharing it to the group as my personal profile or sharing it to the group with the page. Does that make sense? If I completely confused you now?
No. I know what you're saying. If you post in your group as your page, you can invite people to like your page. If you do it as a person, you can't. So personally, for me, I'd post as a page in your group to get more page likes.
I think the only thing I had in the back of my mind is that with the Sensey stuff, though, because I've obviously got the 2 different ones. With the Sensey stuff, they do kind of drum into you. It's all about you and personal.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, am I better doing it from my personal one because then it's me rather than my page? That was the only reason for that. And also, you can't schedule posts, can you, on personal? If you was just to write straight into your personal profile, you can't schedule a post on there, can you? You have to do a page or a group. Right.
You can schedule a page in a group, but going back to your point about how much of our sales we put on Facebook, even on a business page, you should still be including your personality because people buy from people. So the more of your personal story and personal journey you can include, the better. Or maybe one more question. Do I recommend advertising through my business page? Or I think the question is, do I recommend advertising through my business page or Facebook Business Manager? But I personally go through Ads Manager rather than Business Manager. It's a lot simpler to use. You can't advertise on Facebook personal profile, so it has to be your business. And I think to get started, do Ads Manager rather than Business Manager. And as you progress and confidence, then go on to Business Manager. Rebecca, you've got ads, active page. What's the little time? What's the simplest way to compare analytics? So the simplest way is your Facebook pixel loaded, and then in your Google Analytics, see how much Facebook traffic's come through. That would be like my number one. And if you've got more time, then go into the Facebook platform and see which demographic, which age group, which platform, etc. But Google Analytics will tell you absolutely how many people went from Facebook onto your website, which is one of the key measurements of success from my point of view. I want people to come to my website. Next one. Will there be a replay for the Friday workshop? Yeah, if anybody wants to attend Friday's workshop but can't physically make it on Friday, register on Eventbrite and we can send you the replay. That's absolutely fine. Just make sure that you register ahead of time. So we've got 2 more minutes if anybody has any other questions. We've stunned you all into silence. Well, like I say, please do feel free to connect with Kathy and I, LinkedIn, Twitter, even Facebook. We are on all the platforms, LittlePiggy and 24 Fingers. We'd be delighted to answer any of your questions. I'll put up this recording in our Facebook group, which is called 24 Piggies, and I'll send you an email later on with the link as well. But I know Facebook ads is something that people can get quite nervous of and worry about spending a fortune. So if you are thinking about it, do get in touch with Kathy and I, and we can give you some kind of tips to get you started. That would be our pleasure. More in chat. Okay.
Thank you, Claire.
Brilliant. And that's fine. Thanks, Ian. Great to see everybody, and hopefully see you on one of our workshops. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks all.